Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
The CIA refused to provide information necessary to understand why analytical standards at the CIA were violated. The CIA illegally monitored the computer and phone usage of DIG personnel, their investigations, and contact with whistleblowers. These were Americans being spied upon illegally while executing duties directed by the President and under the authority of the Director of National Intelligence. One CIA contractor assisting with the DIG's investigation into the events that transpired between 2022 and 2023 was fired by the CIA one day after meeting with the DIG. When the DIG ceased operations, the CIA also took back 40 boxes of JFK files and MK-Ultra files being processed for declassification by Tulsi Gabbard.
What are we really talking about today? We consistently, I'll put this down here a little bit so you guys can hear me. We consistently hear the word CIA. CIA works for Facebook. CIA works for news channels. CIA is now, the analyst is the governor of Virginia. CIA is involved in the Maidan coup in Ukraine. CIA is involved in Sudan, Somalia, Kenya, Ghana. I mean, it never ends. The CIA's influence and the things that they have done in our country to absolutely destroy our nation is obvious. They've subverted the sovereignty of nations all over the world. And we don't even know who they are until they pop up and say, I'm an analyst. They say that they work for the better interest of the people. Show me where that is true. I cannot see anything over the last 20, 30 years that even remotely looks as if we're going in the right direction. We had Charlie Kirk get assassinated. Just wiped him out. His crime? Teaching young people the truth. And he did it with such a kind heart. As we look at what's happening currently in our country, in our states, look at Colorado, look at California. You have a mayor in California that literally is acting as an agent for China. We walked into a country, we plucked out Maduro. We know that Smartmatic came into the United States. They bought out Sequoia Voting Systems. Sequoia Voting Systems then hired a guy that was a known drug addict and Satanist, a non-racist skinhead who was facing a near 10-year sentence, addicted to heroin, couldn't pass the background check, made him the chief architect. From there, less than a year later, CFIUS at the U.S. government had to get involved and say, whoa, this is a breach of our national security. That same person stayed on board for nearly 16 years until he got on a call with Antifa and said, hey, don't worry about it. Trump's not going to win. I made sure of it. Then they've done everything they can over the last 6 years in order to cover that up. The thing is he wrote this doctorate thesis. This doctorate thesis was very clear. It was about energy decay models. You could take that, convert that code into something that's very nefarious that aligns almost perfectly, 0.994, 0.996, to the current code based on the cast vote records of what we see in our election systems today. Anomalies that could only exist if you were actually running an algorithm in the system. And we ran that across multiple states. We converted the code, showed the code. We took it to mathematicians, some of them afraid to even get involved. every time someone has come forward and talked about what they have done in this country, every single time they have been crucified. FBI whistleblowers, crucified. The CIA whistleblower, crucified. Show me a whistleblower, someone that came forward that wasn't demeaned, defamed, slandered, attacked, and have the media used as a tool against them and then to beat them into submission. See, I'm not an anomaly. And the things that we face today, it's old hat. They only have one formula. They only have one playbook. If you're looking at a chess table, they play it over and over and over again. And because it is so familiar, people find themselves believing these lies. They find themselves saying that they can be a cat and put a litter box in the back of the room and I'm just going to go pee in it. Being furries and putting on ears and walking around and acting like they're subhuman. Being called Zer and Cur and Purr and all these other words, and being able to infiltrate society so succinctly that it didn't just happen in the United States, it became a social contagion that went across the entire world. There are a few exceptions. Russia is an exception. There is no Zer, Her, Purr, Ver. There is none of that stuff in that country. There's none of that stuff in Poland. There are isolated states that are like, yeah, you're not doing that nonsense. That nonsense is not happening here. You have other states that, I mean, they perfected it long before it got to the U.S. soil. I mean, you got the Shihis in Indonesia, Singapore. She-men? I don't know what you'd call them. Lady men in that area. This is the CIA. What we just read about, what you just heard about, was a CIA that took back 40 boxes of the JFK and MK-Ultra files that Tulsi Gabbard was reviewing for declassification. I want to repeat that. Inside of the government, President Trump has a mandate. He goes out, tells Tulsi Gabbard, I want you to do these things. So Tulsi Gabbard goes, okay, give me those files. I'm going to go ahead and set them for declassification. CIA walks in and says, no, not so fast. And overrules the President of the United States. It's not, I just want to be really clear. We have people that are running things, that have pulled levers and done things and used the same subversion in order to get to a place where ultimately evil has prevailed in our country. Charlie Kirk is dead. A 30-06 did not kill him. The same sad story of putting criminals back on the street. Reason why I was late today, just so you guys all know, is we're dealing with a company, one of our clients, whose business was burned to the ground last night. 2 attempts were made. First time they got him. Did a little bit of damage to their business. Went in, charged him with a crime. 3 hours later, he was released. 2 days later, he comes in and finishes the job. They knew exactly where to find him, had him on video. Went and picked him up again. What do you think will happen 3 hours later? And this is in a conservative area of the state that's run by this rotted judiciary. And frankly, DAs that are more interested in putting 73-year-old men who make a mistake behind bars than putting a guy that would destroy a man's multi-million-dollar business. So I was dealing with that. How is it that the CIA can do and act with impunity? How is it the CIA can put their own candidates in places to run as the governor of Virginia? And then right after they do so, they come in and they just wipe out constitutional rights as if they don't exist, as if they're just a day at the park. Changing the landscape of an entire state, one that sits right outside of Washington, D.C., one that is rotted to the core and is filled with as much evil as you possibly could put in a given state. But the reason why we got to this place and the reason why the CIA was able to do what they did, and I can go back and I can literally tell you, I can draw a line through it. I could write the entire script of how they got there. The system is rotted because of stolen elections. Guys, can you guys fix the bottom, by the way, of my thing that says Joe Oltmann X? It's not, it's Joe Oltmann. It's at Joe Oltmann, not Joe Oltmann X. let's go ahead and play this cut two.
The number of voter registrations in several counties in some swing states exceeds 100% of the eligible voters in those counties.
So we looked at 37 states, and we found that 29 of those 37 had counties with 100% higher voter registration than citizen voting age population. And so of that, we totaled 353 counties in those 29 states exceeded 100% voter registration.
353 counties in 29 states, 8 entire states had voter registration exceeding 100% of voting age citizens. Then why is it so hard for us to get to a conclusion? How is it that we can have all of these facts put in front of people and they can say nothing to see here? Nothing to see here. These are not the votes you're looking for. We're going to put whoever we want into any position of trust and authority. And by the way, we're going to use these same systems to raise your taxes, to pass ordinances, to change state constitutions, to put ourselves in a position even without transparency, because nobody could say the system is transparent. Nobody's even argued it. And then tell you we're going to pass laws to make it impossible for you to get access to the very things that led us to the conclusions that you were trying to steal elections. And yet I have to go to court. And I have to sit and I have to listen to these liars run their mouths. It's maddening. I have to spend millions of dollars defending myself and watching other people while they slander me with impunity. And they don't do it, by the way, just on the left. Oh, no. I get to hear from people like Sharona Bishop. See you next Tuesday. This person who literally filed not just a frivolous lawsuit against me for defamation, but then after filing, and did down in Texas, filed this frivolous lawsuit, tied, by the way, to all the people in this as I start to run for state chair, and wanted to make a huge press release on it. I had people from all over the state that said, hey, this woman's a nutball. And then as she's sending it out to people and people are responding to her, she's like, oh, no, he's not one of us. That's our side doing that, by the way. Our side that attacks me. Our side that says they're on our side while they walk past election fraud or put enough mud in the water that you can't see the bottom of the bucket while they steal money from campaigns like Tina Peters and put it in their own pockets as they get paid to do that. You know, we have a guest that's going to be on today, and I know David Willson really well. He's had to step in. I met him as one of the attorneys that came on to join the team so that I could have outside counsel and things that I haven't talked about related to the case with Eric Coomer, but they have now made it impossible for me to have an attorney. Impossible. Third set of attorneys, go on. And the judge is like, yeah, we're going to keep going. We're going to just mow through it. All while treating me like they know that they can't win on the facts, but they're going to try and win on procedure. And they take me to court and they try to do a protection order and they're doing all these things because they know that the system in Colorado is so rotted to the core. Well, David gets to have front row seat to that. And guess what? Guess what he can't do? He can't talk about how rotted the judiciary is and how abnormal this is, because then they can come take his law license. You're not allowed to talk about the judges. That's a rule. That is a rule. If you talk badly about the judges or the process or just how corrupt it is, I can't even ask him that question on air. I can, and he will just not answer it. Because he can't. I'll ask him if he can answer the question, and we'll see what the answer is. He's sitting in the studio with me today. But I want you to see this. This is Thune. Now, I want you to remember the leader, Thune, who said that the 82% of the American people want the SAVE Act passed. But these flaming pieces of shit on our side won't do it. And they won't break rules because they're actually hiding the improprieties of the radical left. There's no difference between Thune and Hakeem Jeffries. No difference. And I actually believe President Trump's going to have to pull the martial law lever because all of the people in Congress, a vast majority of them, are compromised. Thune is a traitor. He's a traitor to the people. He's a treasonous traitor. He's no different than the radical left that is trying to take everything from us. Let's see what he has to say about passing the SAVE Act.
Where do you stand on that currently? Would you reconsider getting rid of the filibuster to get it across the finish line?
We don't have the votes to get rid of the filibuster. We called it up on the floor March, I think, 17th. We were on it for several weeks and had a very spirited debate. In fact, I think with the exception of maybe a couple of Republican senators, made more speeches on the floor in support of the SAVE Act than almost any other senator. And we had some votes on it. And we voted on the narrow issue, which is the most popular one, of voter ID. And we put the Democrats on the record. Every single Democrat voted against it. We added, and one of the other elements, also popular, was whether or not biological boys ought to play in girls' sports. We had that vote, and every Democrat voted against that as well. So we've taken what I think are probably the two issues, in my view, that have the broadest public support and put the Democrats on record, and every single one of them voted against it. So we'll look for opportunities to get other votes. There was a vote on the budget resolution, an amendment that Senator Kennedy offered that didn't even get 50 votes on the floor. And so we're continuing to look for opportunities to advance that legislation. Obviously, it's something that I support. I think we all support. And we think it's something that the American people are broadly supportive as well. Yeah.
Nothing he can do. Doesn't have the votes. Now, these people represent the people in the community. 82% of them have said, we want the SAVE Act. We don't want just ID. We want the SAVE Act. We want transparent elections. No mail-in ballots unless you are disabled or you're a part of the military. I haven't talked to one Democrat, not one Democrat. I talk to people all day long. I'm like, listen, is it inconvenient? Yes, but it gets rid of the issue in our communities. It's really simple. You walk in, you vote, you give them an ID. They count the ballots at the precinct, hand count, paper ballots. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought something so rudimentary would become so controversial? But it's not. Instead, they say black people will be disenfranchised. Yes, black people. And they're like, what are you talking about? I got an iPhone. I got a computer. Of course I have those things. They want to act like somehow they're living in the jungle in Nigeria. They even have phones and computers. How do I know? Because they take $10 billion a year from the American people, mostly over the age of 55. Yeah, it just seems like we can send money to Somalia, give them all of our money, and we catch them red-handed, and nothing happens. They just go back to Somalia and do whatever they do in Somalia with an average IQ of 60, thinking to themselves, well, you don't have to be that bright to steal from the Americans. These village idiots put people in Congress, let them steal their elections, and put people up there that, frankly, are dumber than rocks. And that is the best of America has to offer. And I can tell you, it's hard because we catch them over and over and over again. Normally, you fail an audit. Guess what? You fail an audit, you got to go fix the audit. You know what they do in Colorado? You know what they do around the country? No. They hide it. Burn the building down, let out, no problem. They get out. 3 hours later, come in, finish the job. Yeah, we got to arrest them again. As if it's no big deal that they put a man out of business. Rape women, commit murder, put drugs on the street, put guns on the street. Anybody held accountable? Oh, of course not. Why would they? Why would they? We haven't forced them to do anything to support the American people. And yeah, I'm pissed. And shouldn't you be? Shouldn't you be? These sly little devils walk around with this smile on their face, daring us. Well, frankly, we're at that point where the daring is done. More and more people are tired of it. Here's this post. Put this up. The current state attorney general, Phil Weiser, Peter Berninger, we'll have him on, by the way. Done an amazing job of digging into elections. Current State General of Colorado, Phil Weiser, caught criminally laundering money into his campaign committee for the governor race. Between January 2nd, 2025 and April 29th, 2026, the Weiser committee reported $36,003 contributions totaling $6,020,613.16 from 14,211 distinct donor identities. Address confirmed failures galore. We ran 37,330 Weiser records to verify the addresses, 5,096 records, 13.7% returned. Address status N means invalid. Total in that, $150,039. 161 records returned vacant. That's totaling $41,906. Don't worry, these aren't big numbers according to 6 million, but wait, it gets better. Vacant here means it's confirmed the person is no longer at that address. He or she vacated the location. 2,708 records show NCOA confirmed permanent moves, yet the campaign continues reporting the prior address. The combined failure rate came to 21.2%, materially elevated above the 1 to 3% baseline expected for legitimate donor files. This is what you call smurfing. Each valid record on its face, a Section 1-45-108, subsection 1, subsection A1, disclosure, falsity, violation, and the Rule 10-6 segregation duty trigger. So next, we cross-matched the 12,276 Colorado disclosed Weiser donors against the Colorado Secretary of State voter file. 4,520,610 voters, finding 901 voters, 7.3%, have no Colorado voter at the disclosed name key at all. Contributions of these totaled, ready? $504,982.02 in disclosed contributions. 1,234 donors, 10%, have a Colorado voter at the name key, but not at the disclosed zip and city, with these related contributions totaling $298,529.94. Combined mismatch, any form, 2,135 donors, $803,512. Each of these is an Article 18, 7 anonymous equivalent achievement exposure. 729 failed our conversions test. Aggregate donor or dollar exposure of these, 729 was $298,529.94. Each predicate satisfies the Flores-Flagora real person knowledge requirement of the Dublin in connection with requirements for federal aggravated identity theft prosecution. 344 distinct Weiser donors' identities, name and full address, failed USPS validation in both 2025 and 2026. Phil Weiser needs to be arrested and prosecuted for a bevy of federal felony crimes, including money laundering, wire fraud, violating the Bank Security Act, and a host of others. This is just the tip of the iceberg on Weiser and smurfing. Much more to come very soon. Victor Marx and Jenna Griswold are smurfing also. Colorado State Police, where are you? Is it the state or federal government data? How about you, CBS News? Are you alive or just reporting on firemen rescuing cat from a tree today? Fox News, KVDR, and the cat in the tree got your tongue? Or Denver Channel, did you cut your investigative reporters? How about you, Colorado-based? How come you didn't find any of this? There you go. But what's going to be done about it? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to be done about it. Nothing. That led to my post that I put up that said this effing system is slave theater. This shit is obvious and yet nothing. We see it every day. We see these criminals get away with treating us like slaves. I just got a packet of information. I was literally a packet of information, and it said, I had an IRS letter that said you owe $17,000. I'm like, for what? Like we're the squeakiest, cleanest people you're going to find, and yet they say we owe money. But I do have something to tell you. The people in the state of Colorado and around the country are paying attention. And I've been slandered up one side, down the other. They have thrown enough rocks at me that you should see it. You got this little group of mean girls that have said all sorts of stuff. Called me an anti-Semite. We talked about the ADL. We talked about the Jewish Coalition. We talked about all of these people. Kyle Clark, everyone else comes out and says, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're anti-Semite. Please don't let Joe run the Colorado Republican Party. That's what they said, publicly. And we've been going through this process trying to get these lawsuits across the finish line so I can go after them. And then they went completely quiet because they're like, oh, crap. We checked into it. Yeah, turns out Joe's not a self-loathing individual. And it's in the Bible. So he's stating the Bible. So we're actually calling him an anti-Semite for the words that he actually took out of the Christian Bible. And he's right about Weiser and Polis and Griswold. They do hide and say that they are Jewish while doing some really evil things to people in the state of Colorado. It's true. But they make things up in order to do what exactly? So I had to explain this, by the way. I had to explain this to the Republican Hispanic coalition. I had to explain this to all sorts of people. And when I finally told them, they were like, that checks. You're right. I can't find any fault in what you're saying, Joe. So I want to tell you that I've done three debates. I have another one tomorrow, and I got one on Saturday. 3 Colorado State GOP chair debates. And I walk in, and I was sick at the last 2, but we had a straw poll. The forum attendees voted in a straw poll to advise the voters as the CRC meeting on May 30th. The forum attendees voted, and I got 72.7% of the vote. Next person, Curtis McCracken, got 7 votes. Jeremy Goodall got 5 votes. Craig Steiner got 2 votes. Jennifer Quateri got 1 vote. Thanks to all the candidates that participated. Congrats to Joe Oltmann for winning the straw poll election. I haven't had one election that I've gotten less than 70%. Not one. And that's with people having their groups show up. I am committed to doing things in the state of Colorado, the same thing that President Trump's trying to do, only I will do it. We will win elections. We will do some warrior shit all over the state. And that brings me to my guest. We have a Republican candidate for Colorado Attorney General. He's also my friend, and he's also an attorney and represents me. Let me just tell you a little bit about David. He's a retired U.S. Army attorney and former prosecutor with over 20 years of military service. He served as a special assistant to U.S. attorney and worked in defense counsel, bringing a multifaceted perspective to criminal justice system. And he did it inside of in law, in the military, and outside. He holds degrees. He definitely has degrees, but he also has a degree in intellectual property and an emphasis on IT. He was working in IT. He went back to law. He's actually really good at law. So he could probably do whatever he wants. But he's also a cybersecurity pioneer, former professor at the NSA. He helped support and develop what has become Cybercom and Air Force Cyber, which I haven't heard that word in a long time. He leverages the technical expertise to address modern legal challenges like data breaches, cybercrimes, and election technology. Election technology. He is running against Michael Allen. And I will tell you that I am one of the few people, I'm one of the people that was standing right next to David, and I was like, you must run for Attorney General. And so he wants to restore accountability, ensure government agencies follow the law, and remain transparent. Something that he holds true, and I'm for Dave. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a very biased platform. I am a supporter of David Willson, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Can I correct some of that?
Yeah, you can correct it. Your mic's not on, though. Why is your mic not on? Press that middle button. Guys, we got a dead battery. We might be taking a commercial break right now. All right, let's go to commercial break. When we come back, we will have, you can see him now. He's in the studio. We have David Willson. And we're going to fix his mic, and we'll be right back. We'll do a quick commercial break.
Oh, hi. I almost didn't see you there. Welcome to DCF Buns, where you can find the freshest buns in town, if I do say so myself. Our master bakers teach class every week. So whether you're new to baking or trying to improve your culinary skills, we got you covered. And we can help you bake the cake of your dreams. We'll even clean your cake if you want. And if you don't want to bake anything yourself, we have loads of fresh buns available in a variety of shapes and sizes. Check us out at dcfbuns.com to learn more. DCF Buns. We keep the buns hot and the deals hotter. Buns.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle. Okay, so I screwed up everything about what I said about David. Forget what I said completely. It was Army cyber, and he was not a professor. He was a professional for the NSA. So, I mean, I could just screw it up even more, David, but I'll just let you kind of take the deal. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Yeah, so what I did was the first half of my Army career, I did prosecution as a trial counsel. I worked as a special assistant U.S. attorney prosecuting civilians committing crimes on, at that time, Fort Stewart in Savannah.
So these are like, you were prosecuting moms.
No.
And yeah,
attempted murder, drugs.
So these are like kids of the people, because you gotta get on the base.
Attempted murder was an 18-year-old dependent. Drugs, just because of that, this is back in the mid-90s. So installations were wide open. So you could drive right through Fort Stewart. You didn't have, there was no gate check, nothing. It wasn't until 2001 or 911 that they closed all the installations.
Well, I mean, they closed the rest of them. I mean, about half of them were already closed.
Yeah, Fort Gordon.
Fort Belvoir was closed. I mean, you have, Fort Meade. You have all the stuff that's around D.C.
Anything that's sensitive stuff. But Fort Stewart was ground pounders and 105s and artillery and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they were welcome. Come on in if you want to get a fight.
Yeah.
These are the guys. You're like, yeah, we're not going to put a fence around it, because if you come in here, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
But that's back in the day when you could take your service weapon home.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Field strip a gun in your living room if you wanted to on base.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone. Now you have to check them in.
Yeah. So what I started out prosecuting soldiers doing stupid things, and then at Fort Stewart I prosecuted civilians in the district court. So I was added to the U.S. Attorney's Office to prosecute civilians doing really stupid things. And then I switched careers in the military. I was still an attorney, but the Army sent me to get a master's in intellectual property and information technology. That's what it was called back then. Now you would call it cyber.
Yeah.
And then I went to work at NSA.
So when I said IT, you're like, Joe, it's not IT, it's cyber.
I didn't set up networks.
Yeah.
I provided legal advice.
IT's a lot of stuff now.
Yeah.
I mean,
back then it was hook up my computer, make sure my mouse works. And and the help desk. That was the big thing.
Yeah. So you retired as a colonel?
04. Major.
Major.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was, I'd say, a career choice.
Yeah.
If I stayed the course and went battalion, brigade, division, then I would have gotten promoted. I chose to go into technology and get the knowledge and background in cybersecurity. And back then it equated to network attack, defense, and exploitation.
Was it difficult to step away from law, or did you just?
Oh no, it was still law.
No, but was it difficult to step away from
the courtroom?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the courtroom. It's stressful. I had a 99.9% conviction rate. I had one trial, and it was when I was in the U.S. Attorney's Office, a deaf mute and a juvenile, and they robbed a cab driver. And the deaf mute sat behind the cab driver, and the juvenile sat in the front seat and held a knife to him and said, "Give me all your money," while the deaf mute held him around the throat and pulled him back so hard he broke the seat that the cab driver was sitting in. And I told...
Well, deaf mutes are usually have retard strength too.
Oh, he was a big guy too. And I
love you.
I told my boss at the U.S. Attorney's Office, I said, look, I will not get a conviction on a deaf mute. I need the deaf mute and the juvenile. I have to try them together. No, just try the deaf mute. If you get a conviction, we'll talk about the juvenile. Because they weren't really prosecuting juveniles back then. And juvenile gang crime was not real big back in the 90s.
So this guy was a deaf mute gang member?
I don't know if he was really involved in gangs, but the juvenile was.
Well, was the deaf mute like just hanging out with him? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we go to trial. The deaf mute told CID he punched the cab driver. His brother, who was a soldier, that's why he was on post, took the stand and said, well, when he says punched, it's not the same thing that you and I mean by punch. I'm like, okay, enlighten us. What does punch mean in his terminology? And he couldn't really explain it. But we ended up with a hung jury.
You tried again?
No, they wouldn't let me. And the guy took off, so I had to have the marshals, I had to get the court to issue a warrant and the marshals go looking for him.
Yeah.
That was my only loss.
All right, let me ask you a question, because this has come up with Michael Allen quite a bit. Michael Allen has failed to prosecute election crimes. There's now a whole dossier out on things that he failed to take care of down in Colorado Springs.
Yes.
That's your hood. It's Colorado Springs.
Yes.
And one of those is Eric Holt. Eric Holt he basically gift wrapped a case for election fraud and he was the fire chief.
Oh, okay.
And they fired him.
Teller County.
Yeah, Teller County.
Okay.
And so the person that was on the other side of that law firm was Michael Allen's father.
Oh.
Okay? And they were talking. They were kind of going back and forth, and they helped cover up the crimes. One was representing the town. And then so when Eric Holt brought it in, he's like, yeah, I don't see anything here. And it's very clear. Like I've had people at CBI look at it. I've had people at the ex-FBI people look at it. They've all looked at it and said, this is absolutely election fraud. I mean, this is textbook election fraud. Michael Allen says, there's nothing I can do for you, I can't do it. And dismiss it. Walk away from it.
I'm not shocked.
Why are you not shocked?
Well, and I have to take it faith what you're telling me, but I read an article, and I'm assuming the article was correct,
Yeah.
that there was video evidence of election fraud.
It was video. Yeah, these are videos with sound that caught the sound of them conspiring with each other to commit election fraud.
Yeah.
It's cut and dry.
Yeah.
It's so cut and dry that Eric Holt literally he's lost his home, lost his job. This is a guy that's served, right?
And I did read in that article that he was fighting the wrongful termination.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
And that's where you have his dad was firm, was actually representing the town and municipality.
Sounds rather incestuous.
Oh, very. And there's communication between the two that actually went back and forth during the time that this is happening.
Similar to, what is it, I think Gouch case, where the juror on for the trial, one of the jurors was related to, I don't want to misspeak, it was either the prosecutor in the case or Michael Allen.
And that case ended up in a hung jury, or not a hung jury, but overturned on an appeal. And that was a murder trial.
That was, so again, and I say
cut
this,
and dry case.
Yeah.
Cut and dry case.
I say this every time. I've met Michael Allen 3 times now, and he says, I always tell everybody you're a nice guy. And I told him, I am a nice guy. And I said, and I think you're a nice guy. But some of the things that I'm hearing that are coming out of the woodwork give me a lot of pause. It's not a hard job. You just do your job with integrity.
And have compassion for people.
Absolutely.
I think you have to have compassion. You can't be a DA. You can't be an AG without having compassion for people.
Yeah. And
the ruthlessness by which some of these cases have ended. I mean, they have to retry that case, that murder case.
I'm still on the list. I am a advisory counsel. I still do dependency and neglect cases, and I'm an advisory counsel. So if somebody needs an attorney, like if they're going to testify in a criminal trial, I'm one of the attorneys they reach out to and ask, can you take this case?
Yeah.
I had one case, the mother of a daughter, the daughter was shot in the face, almost point blank, and killed right in front of her mother. They speculated that there could be some drug dealing involved. They were concerned about the mother, and so they asked me to come in and advise her on her testimony. There was no issue for her, so. But 3 times to prosecute the ex-boyfriend who came speeding up in the car, jumped out, pointed his gun at the daughter who's sitting in the front seat, shot her in the face, jumped in his car and took off. 3 times. First time, mistrial. Prosecutor did something stupid. Second time, hung jury. I'm like, how do you get a hung jury with facts like that? The guy literally jumped out of his car, shot her in the face, and then took off. And then the third time, finally, he was convicted. And I'm like, it's funny because when I was in the military, we had a lot of reservists who would come work with us over the summer, do their 2-week drill. And a lot of them worked for DAs or they were DAs. And I always thought, wow, I can't wait to get in the civilian world where the experts are and, really learn how to practice law. And then I retired from the Army, and as soon as I got back in the courtroom, I'm like, wow, is that it? Really? This is the standard? Because it's so far below what I was used to in the Army. So.
Yeah, I want to say this. I'm trying not to put you on the spot because I do know that there are rules.
Don't put me on the spot.
Well, let's talk about the rules. Are you allowed to criticize the judge publicly?
Ethically, I don't believe so. Personally, I wouldn't anyway.
Okay.
In a private conversation with somebody, I might, but not publicly.
Okay.
And with that, I would say I would never, ever, ever be a judge. I couldn't imagine sitting there all day long, listening to everybody's problems and having to make judgment over their problems. That just is so...
Yeah, so let me...
But real quick, before we jump off the last topic.
Somebody's asked me to ask you a question. I'm not going to ask you the question. Go ahead. So I had to answer. I was like, no, I'm not answering that question.
Some of the things that I'm running on I ran for DA 2.5 years ago against Michael Allen because 2 days before Assembly, a bunch of people started calling me saying, you need to run. We need somebody in that office who's going to do the right thing. And I'm like, well, I didn't want to do that. Just like I didn't want to run for Attorney General. But I felt like I needed to step up. I prayed about it. I felt like God told me, this is what you need to do. And the issues that I ran on for DA, election fraud and integrity, porn or smut books in the schools, rising crime, they're the exact same issues that I'm running on now. Why? Because nothing happened. You would think my opponent would have gotten the message, oh, look, people are really concerned about these things. Maybe I should step up and do something. No, nothing has happened. And he told me, don't lie about me. At Assembly, I went up to congratulate him after we both got enough votes to get on the ballot. I tapped him on the back. I said, hey, Michael, congratulations. And he said, don't lie about me. I said, I don't lie about anybody. What do you think I lied about? And I think what he was referring to was when I said he did nothing about the porn in the schools. So granted, huh?
He didn't.
No. Well, granted, technically, writing a memo back to Dr. Bill Swalwell and a bunch of other people and telling them there's no crime there, work with the schools, technically that's doing something. Realistically, it's not. He's wrong about there's no crime there. Personally, what I would have done, I would have opened an investigation. I would have put the schools on notice and tell them, look, I'm investigating this. If I find a crime, I'm coming after you. So I'm giving you the opportunity right now to fix this. And they would have worked with parents and fixed it. And I probably still would have found a crime. Same with the election fraud.
But the problem is that you're ethically bound, and I'm just I'm going to move around this question a little bit that somebody was going to ask, and that is, can you be, are you immovable? In other words, years ago, I had a friend that went to got federally indicted for doing stupid stuff. He was a government contractor, and I was able to get a hold of somebody that knew the judge's clerk. So I had a conversation, and he was facing 5 years in prison. He got 6 months at Club Med, and I had a lot to do with that. Are you immovable? That's when I knew that the system was rotted. I shouldn't have been able to call up and pull a favor, right? But I did. Are you immovable? Is somebody going to be able to call you up and say, Eric Holtz, we need to sweep this under the rug? Would you have handled that deal the same way that Michael Allen handled it?
No.
Why?
Because I have to sleep with myself at night.
You sleep with your wife too. Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want your wife to watch this and be like, wait, you're not sleeping with yourself?
Sometimes she wishes I would with the snoring. No, I have integrity, and I have my Lord and Savior I have to answer to. And going into this, like I had somebody approach me, said, oh, I'll campaign for you, I can do all this stuff for you. And it quickly sounded like this was going to be a quid pro quo. I'm like, no, I don't do quid pro quo. If I get elected, I get in that office, I get in there not owing anybody anything, money, favors, nothing. And I'll listen to both sides. I want to hear every opinion, every side, and then make a solid decision and then be able to stand up to it. But as soon as you start taking favors, bribes, whatever, it's all over. And like I've told a lot of people, as soon as it becomes about me, then I'm done. It can't be about me. It has to be about the position and doing what's right and turning Colorado around. And hopefully I can do that in one term and go home.
So hopefully, but I don't think you can. I think you're going to need two, and then you can step off the plate. The reason why, look, I'm a really good judge of character, and I hadn't spent any time with you, and you walked into a case that, frankly, I'm going to say the judge was rotted at the core, but I'm going to just we're reserving judgment right now. Okay.
You are free to say what you want to say.
But it's hard to ignore what has happened in my case. It is highly unusual. Would you say that?
Yeah. Well, you've been dealing with for 5 years.
Yeah.
Me, what? Coming up on 2 months?
But it's unusual.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's unusual to have a case where, you're trying to get a protection order. You don't have anything that I've ever said that, I mean, in this case, nothing that I've said where I've been like, I want to do harm to this person. I just said I want blood because of treason. And they're trying to put those two together, and they're on different floors of the building, right?
Yeah.
And yet they walked in there with a straight face and said that I want a protection order.
Yeah.
Because this guy said that he wants people tried for treason. It's unusual that it even got to this place.
I can say this. When I retired from the Army, because I wanted to get back in the courtroom, I did a lot of pro bono work for TESA, which is a domestic violence organization. So I did a lot of orders of protection, mostly helping women get an order of protection. The typical order of protection is an ex-boyfriend or soon-to-be ex-spouse stalking, trying to run like I said, typically a female off the road, messing with bank accounts, physically threatening. I had some assaults, things like that. That's the typical order of protection. And I can say I started dependency and neglect cases in 2017. And then I thought, well, this isn't too bad. Most of what I've been doing is fighting for who I felt like was the underdog, the little guy. And I can tell you that for me and a lot of my colleagues doing various legal work, it increasingly feels like the wins are far and few between. And it's frustrating.
Yeah, look, I think the biggest issue that I have, frankly, is that I would hand over, the case is a little complicated. You're the local counsel for Pro Hoc Vice, and the new counsel, which would be Pro Hoc Vice, which means it's out-of-state counsel that's using your office, so on and so forth. But I would have zero trouble, and I think this is the litmus test for me, handing something over to you and being like, David, do the right thing. Like I would walk away from the case and I would think that you would do the right thing, hands down. I would never think that. But I don't get that same feeling with 99% of lawyers out there, right? And I've had a lot of experience with lawyers in the last 6 years. Why? Why is the profession so pervasively dishonest? Is that a fair assessment? Is it a fair assessment to say that the profession is pervasively dishonest?
I could tell you, certainly I like to win, but I won't break the rules to win. I will win within the rules.
Okay.
Most attorneys feel like they have to win.
That's dishonest.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look, I was on the phone with an attorney helping out someone on the East Coast, and I'm talking to him about this deal in Pennsylvania that this person, Michael Morris and Steve, they are getting screwed by a system that has done this over and over and over again as a municipality. They literally have a cabal going. I made the comment to the lawyer. He's like, well, what do you want the outcome to be? Because they're going to want you to, in order to settle this, they're going to want you to step away from the mic, stop talking about it. And I was like, okay, I'm willing to do it if they do it for both these people, Phil Latham and Mike Morris. And he's like, is that your final answer? And I was like, yeah, it's my final answer. But I keep thinking to myself, did I just do the same thing that I told other people not to do? Because now I have 15, 20 other people that want to come out of the woodwork that want justice as well. And I've already sent everything up to the DOJ. I've already done all the hard work, and people are panicking. So do I step away, and am I doing the same thing that I'm saying that Michael Allen's doing almost?
Depends on how much influence you actually have.
I have quite a bit because I have a big audience, right? I can skewer people on this show. I have skewered people, rightfully, right? I've also had to apologize to people for skewering them on the show. I don't know. I look at the profession and I try to. I have a lot of friends that are lawyers. I have a lot of friends, and it's a terrible thing to say that you have friends that are lawyers.
Well, and I was thinking about this the other day. Almost everywhere I've gone into a courtroom, it's just been me.
Yeah.
Even in the Army, it was rare that I even had a paralegal. So I've been solo almost the whole time. Your cases are the first time I've had to deal with fairly large law firms.
Over something very simple.
Yes.
Something, I mean, you have to admit, they're lawyering you to death.
Oh, yeah.
But the cases are very, I have an affidavit that says that this guy was on the call, but Pinky swears Coomer wasn't on it, but I have all this corroborating evidence and everything else, including who he is, right? And what he was able to do during the election, what he had capabilities doing, going back to history, 16 years. And it's very simple. Here's what Joe Oltmann says. This is what he says you did. This is what he did. The truth defense is easy. And they're lawyering us to death over 5 years over this timetable. And in the middle of that, they're just slandering the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Right?
So here's a good example. When I was in Germany is when the O.J. Simpson case happened.
Yeah.
In Germany, we could do a murder trial in 3 days.
Yeah.
And get all the witnesses and be done. And that included sentencing.
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson went on for what, 6 months?
It was long.
Fortunately,
it was long. It was good for the ratings. I mean, they had great ratings.
We didn't have access to the daily news, which was great because it would have drove me crazy. How could they drag that murder trial on for 6 months? It's beyond me. And now I'm seeing the same thing with this big civil litigation. How can it go on? I've filed some civil suits because I've helped. Me and a couple other people have helped a lot of people with COVID, fighting the mandates, wrongful employment, wrongful termination of employment, things like that. We filed a suit last fall for wrongful termination for a disabled vet. We're still waiting to hear because the other side filed a motion for summary judgment. It's been over 6 months, probably 8 months now.
And why?
I don't know. Not a clue.
Yeah, so why would that be? You know, we have to ask ourselves the question, why would it take that long?
I don't know.
But we filed for cert to go to appeal
Unless they're
on
backed
the
up.
pro hoc vitae that they tried to cancel, right? And what happened in that case? You put it in at 8 o'clock, and by 8:05, they were like, denied, right? Was that wrong?
No comment.
I'm not kidding. Write out a brief. You're writing out, you know, for cert in order so you can appeal it. And it's as if they had the appeals court on speed dial. It probably didn't even touch the appeals court. The judge probably didn't even see it. It was a clerk that said, click, 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 click. Done.
Your guess is as good as mine.
But you know it's not right.
Yeah. I reserve my opinion.
This is the problem. The problem is the system does not, it silences the truth, right? It creates an opportunity where the process is the punishment. Even when you come out the other end, they find a way to take from you what is not yours to take. That means the system is rotted. What are you going to do, David, when you get in there to stop the rot?
I'd have to, figure out, first of all, what's going on. Like, when you told me your case had been filed in 2020, I can't even fathom what's been going on for 5 years.
Well, it's gamesmanship.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
I
Right?
believe it.
I mean, it's so hard for me to sit here and say this to you, and the people that are listening can see it. It's so obvious to everyone how rotted, corrupt. I mean, we see the smurfing and nothing happens. It shows us that there is it's a lawless society that only applies to who they want to persecute when they want to persecute them. You have 6 months that you're waiting on a summary judgment on a case where you have a wrongful death. It shouldn't be 6 months. It should be pretty easy. But they get to decide how long they stretch it out. Patrick's going through the same thing. They fired him because they asked him what his opinion was, right? And you don't know anything about this case. They asked him what his opinion is. He was a dean of students at a school, and he gave them their opinion, and then they fired him for saying, I don't believe in DEI. I believe everyone's an American. They fired him for it.
Yeah.
So the system, and then he had to go ask for permission to sue him because they have qualified immunity. Judges have what? What kind of immunity do they have? It's
I don't even know.
blanket immunity. I mean, they have to shoot someone in the face, in broad daylight, in front of 5,000 witnesses, on TV.
Obviously based on what Christopher Gregory's filed, that's correct.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Christopher Gregory case is unbelievable. And who's wrapped up in the middle of that? Phil Weiser, Polis, Griswold, the Supreme Court justices, including one that had to resign,
And it's
the AUSA.
It's similar to the U.S. Congress. When he pushed that when Scott pushed that resolution forward, Democrats all voted along party line. No, no, no.
Right. So it doesn't matter what the people want.
They all voted to ignore corruption.
So it doesn't matter what the people want.
No.
All right. Has the system always been this way, or is it more obvious now, or has it changed and metastasized into something that literally is so rotted to the core that, frankly, if you don't cut it out, there's no way to fix it?
The difference is, and this came from, I forgot his name, but a prophet. He said, it will get to the point where, he said, the corruption's going on, it's been going on a long time, but it will get to the point where they don't care that you know, and they'll just do it right out in the open. And here's another example. In 2022, I represented Tina Peters on her recount lawsuit against Griswold.
Yes.
And there, again, that was another situation where people asked me to jump in. And they introduced me, I can't remember the guy's name, you probably know, but an expert who was going to testify if we actually got into a courtroom. And he told me he's a Democrat. And he wrote 20 lines of code for I think it was for the CIA. And he figured, well, this is probably to change elections overseas. Because the CIA has no authority here. They can't work within the U.S. by law.
Are you talking about Ben Cotton?
No.
Was it a lawyer?
No. Like a IT guy.
That they had for her case?
He was going to testify for us if we got into court.
And why didn't he? Because I'm not familiar with this guy.
Because we got thrown out of court on procedural reasons.
Say it again. Now say it again.
we got thrown out of court on procedural.
And she was denied her
Lack
due
of
process.
standing.
She was denied her due process, and her affirmative defenses were then said that basically in limine, you cannot use any of those defenses, right? Am I saying that correctly?
Oh, you mean in the criminal?
In the criminal.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know. Only what I've been told. But this guy, he wrote 20 lines of code to flip an election. And he told me, and I don't think he's in hiding, but he's somewhere in the East Coast. He said that code has been used by the Republicans and the Democrats back and forth.
Who is this guy?
I can't remember. I can go back and look.
I need that number. I need that information. I think I probably know who it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, you had an expert that said he wrote this 20 lines of code for the CIA. I definitely need this information, right? So when I said this stuff about the CIA, that doesn't surprise you either, does it?
No. Well, I saw the interview of the former agent talking about Venezuela.
And we have the whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Like we actually have it. I'll show it to you. I want to focus in on you because I think that this is a cut from your speech at the Republican convention last month, and this was fantastic, by the way. This just showed that you're just reasonable. You just want to get to the bottom of it. You want to make sure that it's free and fair, and not just the elections are free and fair, but our society is free and fair, which is why they're afraid of you, right? And why the people at the assembly wanted you.
Yeah.
Play it.
And a lot of people criticize me and say, oh, you got it nice late a week ago. Why? Because I had no intention of running. I was hoping to stay home and enjoy my life. The problem is, all these people started before me saying, you need to get in the race. We need change and we need it now. If you want status quo, vote with my opponent. If you want change, vote with me. I spent 20 years in the Army. My wife and I settled here in 2008, and we love it here. We want change. Again, if my opponent did his job, I wouldn't have to be here. We can't just deal with election integrity unless we address election fraud. My opponent was giving evidence on election fraud. Nothing happened. As Bill Soros mentioned, packing of evidence on porn in the schools. Nothing happened. We need to do something. We need to change now. I represented Tina Peters in her recount lawsuit against Janet Griswold. What happened to her in Mason County is disgusting, and I will do something about it as Attorney General. And I will start an investigation on everything that happened surrounding Tina. She's sitting there in jail rotting. We need to continue. If you want change, vote for me. If you want status quo, vote for my opponent. I'm running General Untamed Willson. Thank you.
I never saw that.
You never saw it?
No.
I watched it. I've sent it around several times. So let's talk about this. You say you want change. Is it change for Democrats too?
Change for everybody.
Change for independents?
Yeah.
And is this change going to be more transparency?
Absolutely.
Are you going to allow the people that have been on the AG's office staff for the last 20 years to continue to have their reign of terror?
That's one of my biggest concerns is the deep state. But I'll go into the office.
Because there's a state deep state just like there's a national one.
Absolutely. I'll go, and there's probably a lot of people in there who are frustrated with what's going on. But I'll go in there, I'll give everybody a second chance. Say, look, my way or the highway. You don't like it, you can argue it with me. But if you don't follow my rules, get out. First thing I'll do is tell them, get rid of the pronouns. This is a government office, not a social experiment. No pronouns in your signature block. Second, get rid of all the social agendas and all this crap. It's got to go. It's got to be constitutional rule of law. And I've told a lot of people this. And as DA, I was planning on doing this. I'm going to hold a town hall every month. Move around the country, or I'm sorry, around the state, and televise it or put it out on video. Because I want to hear what people have to say, and I want to be able to tell them, here's what we're doing about that issue. Or I've never heard that issue before. Give me the information and let me look into it. Because I'm tired of politicians that love you when they want to get elected, then they go to their office and you never hear from them again.
Well, I mean, let's the whole idea of what we're dealing with in Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, Thune is that guy. There's nothing more I can do. The American people want it passed, but and now he's trying to move the Overton window and say they just want the ID passed. No. They want transparent elections passed. But these people have lied over and over and over again, and they literally treat the American people as if we are the dumbest, as if we're Somalis.
Yeah.
And we kind of are, because we allow it to happen.
We need term limits.
Well, I think we need more than term limits. We need to. The American people are tired, bro. They're overworked, and the taxation on them is it's not just overburdening, it's crippling.
Yeah, and it's easy to just say, forget it. There's nothing I can do.
Correct.
But I felt like I needed to stand up. It's painful, but
necessary.
I'm sure you know, standing up is not easy.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do first thing? First out the gate for Tina Peters, if you're elected?
Assuming Scott is not in there and can't release her right away, pardon her.
Okay.
Then I'm going to open an investigation. I think I saw somebody wrote an article about the federal pardon.
Yeah.
And it was very convincing that Trump's pardon does apply.
Real. Well, and Ivan Raiklin, just today, if you guys can go find it for me, Ivan Raiklin just today asked the head of the Marshal Service why he hasn't gone on to pick up Tina Peters based on the pardon. He says he's waiting for the AG to give him a direction, Todd Blanche, which means that Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche are both standing in the way of Tina Peters being out of jail.
And I've heard that.
Right? And a federal pardon, you can say whatever you want. But if you go back to the 1800s, a federal pardon was used in state crimes in order to get people out because of corruption that was happening in the states.
Yeah.
So the federal government stepped in because they have a supremacy clause. They have the ability to walk in. You know that you don't have a legal system when the laws of the land, and they say it's unproven, where they can stand up on a stage and say that, the federal government doesn't have any authority over state crimes. That's not true, David. That has literally been proven. That we have we have laws, we have precedent that has happened. And you can say it's 200 years old, you could say it's 2 minutes old. It does not matter. We've been following the Constitution for 250 years, right? So it obviously works, right? But the fact is that the American people are somewhat anemically stupid because they believe it, and then they repeat it, and they put it on social media, and they're like, well, it doesn't, you can't, pardon doesn't hold.
Yeah.
The outcome is that Tina Peters is still in prison. What are you going to do for her if Scott's not in there, if you get in as the AG, but God forbid, one of the other clowns gets in as the governor?
One of the things I was thinking about probably this week or late last week was starting a legal memo now, so that if I do get in there, I have it written that basically says the federal pardon applies, and then order that she be released.
Right.
Or just order that she be released. Say, by law, this applies, she needs to be released. Who's going to challenge it?
Well, I don't think anyone can challenge it because there's no challenging ability.
No.
The judges are so rotted, they're not following, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but let me just tell you something. The courts in Colorado are broken. We had Melissa Hart, a sitting Supreme Court justice, runs into a car, does $100,000 in damage, is drunker than a skunk. Okay? She's not charged. There's a civil deal that they settle. Shh.
Never charged?
No. Drunker than drunk. And you got another case. Dog bites it, she doesn't go to court, she gives him the finger. Right? They have a bench warrant for her arrest for not showing up. Sorry, for the first case, not showing up on the first case. She got charged with careless driving, not for a DUI. She was drunk. Like I've seen now, and I have witness statements that show that she's drunk, and she doesn't show up to court. They get a bench warrant. A dog bites the neighbor. The police show up. Police show up. She got a bench warrant. What happens when you have a bench warrant, David?
Get arrested.
immediately. Does anybody get out of jail free card?
No.
I beg to differ. Melissa Hart does. They said, oh, shh, you need to go down there and take care of it tomorrow. Wink, wink, wink. Violated the law. So you got the police chief that's involved now. You got the chief justice involved in it now. You got the Christopher Gregory case. They're embroiled in this sex crimes inside of the judiciary that involves heinous stuff. You got a bribe for $2.3 million to Macias memo, and you got an additional $12.5 million that was paid to Supreme Court justices and justices that hid the crimes that Melissa Hart committed, because they all have what? Judges have a duty to report. Did they report?
No.
And the judge that was overseeing her probation when she finally went in didn't report. And when it all came out with the Christopher Gregory case, who's the AUSA? Who's the AUSA? Assistant U.S. Attorney. Who is the AUSA? You don't know this. I'm going to tell you. You ready? Kevin Traskos. Who's Kevin Traskos? He's married to Melissa Hart. So he hides the case.
The incest is unreal.
And he says that there's nothing there to see. And the DOJ knows about it because the case gets transferred. And we have bona fides, recordings, stuff that you cannot, I mean, Christopher Gregory did a great job, but other people in there have come forward. Now I got a sitting judge in Denver, that says, I want to blow the whistle on the court system in Denver, the judges, who said that ex parte communication is out of control, that quid pro quo and doing all this stuff is an everyday occurrence, that they are making decisions on cases based on political leanings, that they are not spinning the wheel for juries to bring in impartial juries. They are picking jurors that they know are lean one way over another in order to either get a conviction or to get a overturn. And they're having these conversations through signal chats that are deletable, and what's it called? Slack. That they have the ability to manipulate and delete. That does not have an archive. Imagine that. That's what you're walking into. You prepared for that?
Well, you know what this reminds me of? Bleach Bit and Hillary Clinton.
I mean, look, we've been dealing with this for years.
Yeah.
And as people are listening, they're listening to this and going, holy shite.
I was on active duty when the whole thing with Hillary Clinton happened.
Coder's name was Clinton Curtis.
Oh, okay.
Clinton Curtis, is that the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Clinton. Yeah.
And all I kept thinking was, if I had deleted emails or used an unsecure system,
you'd be in prison
for classified emails, I would have been in prison. Yeah.
All right, so tell me why the people are not getting any sort of justice.
In what context?
I just gave you a whole. I literally played. I played out.
If everything that you say is going on, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that I'm not, because I think it's much worse than we even know.
It's way much worse.
Yeah.
It's way much worse. It's way worse. But the people, you can see now why they're so upset.
So maybe a press conference every week exposing all the corruption that I find.
Are you committing to that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the people need to know. And you got to shine the light on the darkness to make it go away.
Okay.
And here's a good example. In my neighborhood, we have a homeowners association. And I volunteered to be on the homeowners association. And we went after this one lady because she was building a barn, which was fine. You had to build the barn within a year. And unfortunately, this lady was doing it herself.
Yeah, so it took longer.
Well, and it looked like a tree house. It didn't look like a barn.
I mean, come on.
Finally, she paid someone, and now it's a beautiful barn. But what pissed me off is we sent the attorneys after this lady because she was nasty and wouldn't comply. And at that time, the homeowners association did not allow chickens. Well, the president of the homeowners association lived right next door to a guy who wanted chickens when he moved in, but was told he couldn't have them. And he got chickens. And when I found out, I said to the president of the homeowners association, why didn't you report him? Oh, it's not my job to report him. I'm like, you're the freaking president of the homeowners association, right, and he's your neighbor. And you said nothing. Well, it's not my problem. And I told him, I said, you know what? This board has no ethics. I'm out. I quit right there. And then I found out later he had created an easement on his property to set up internet for the whole neighborhood to enrich himself. And I'm like, finally he moved, and good riddance, but.
Yeah, so listen, I just described a thing to you, and you said, if that's true. What I just outlined for you, you can see in the case for Christopher Gregory, which now has made it to the floor of the legislature. Yeah. Christopher Gregory and I do not see eye to eye on politics. We're on opposite sides. He leans left, I lean right. Yeah. Right? I would think that I lean partially right.
And I've read all that, and I did testify on that resolution.
Yeah. So, but you have, I mean, this is a massive problem.
Yeah.
How many news sources have reported on it?
Well, none that I'm aware of.
Me.
Yeah.
That's it. And I had to chase it all the way through. I had to grab the files. I had to go to Washington. I had to drop it at the, excuse me. I had to drop it at the DOJ. Just drop it. Boop.
Did they accept it?
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
That's how corrupt it is.
Oh, yeah.
And the American people are tired of it. It's one of the reasons, you know, I was walking into DCF Guns and a guy said, Joe Oltmann. I was like, yeah, hey, how you doing? He's like, Simon. I said, what's your name? He said, Simon. He says, I love your podcast and I love your organization. I was like, man, thank you very much. Made me feel good, right? Because we do a lot of good, right? Why is it that I'm the one with the courage? And are you willing to be that same person?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you are.
I'm always thinking about security. There was I was requested to be the deputy director of the CICIG in Guatemala back in like 2018. And the CICIG was the UN organization that was trying to weed out corruption.
Yeah.
And a bunch of friends
in Guatemala.
Yeah. A bunch of friends of mine put my resume forward, and I interviewed for the job. Unfortunately, the director of the CICIG wanted his friend in there. So it was all political.
No, it was all corrupt.
Corrupt.
And what would have happened?
Politically corrupt.
They did all the math, brother. Yeah. They did all the math. And one of the things that happens in the military is the same thing that happens in this deep state, is that everyone gives a free pass. Well, what's happened in the government is that people have learned about the free pass system. And now there's so many free passes that the system is just literally a free-for-all. Because nobody wants to be the one to go after the free pass.
Yeah.
Are you willing to go after the free pass?
I'm willing to go after the corruption.
The free pass is corruption.
Yeah.
Right?
So here, I've told you this before. I grew up in New York. I grew up a liberal Democrat. Joined the Army, saw the world, changed my mind, accepted my Lord and Savior. When I would sit around in the Army, you're bored a lot. We would talk about stuff, and fights would come up, and I'd talk about fights I had been in New York, and most of these guys, their eyes would get wide. Why were you in all those fights? I'm like, well, I thought that was normal. And the one thing I learned is that certainly in New York, you either knew how to fight, you learned how to fight, or you ran from every fight. I didn't know how to fight, but there was no way in hell I was running from any fight. I'd get the crap knocked out of me, but I was going to stand up on my own 2 feet and not run. So I had to learn how to fight. But that's the way I do everything. I go into a fight. I'm not backing down.
Well, I believe that 100% you will do that. I'm going to leave you with this last clip. This is a clip on key admissions in the Coomer deposition. This comes from one of my shows. I want to play it. Let's go ahead and play it real quick. In the January 27th, 2026 deposition in Tampa, Florida, Dr. Coomer made a number of admissions, including he admitted in his deposition he had access to the tally. and he had accessed it live and printed it during the 2020 presidential election and primary. He admitted that foreign and domestic contractors could remotely access the Dominion machines. He admitted that Serbian contractors could have accessed and altered the application system. He admitted that he had contact with Serbian contractors prior to the 2020 election. He stated he did not know whether foreign contractors could remotely access Dominion machines during the 2020 election. He was the chief of Dominion's security team. He admitted he had provided high-level guidance for certain implementation of the voting system, which covered multiple states. He admitted to having been the chief software architect for Sequoia voting systems, later acquired by Smartmatic, and in turn Dominion. He admitted in writing source code for that system. He admitted that domestic and foreign programmers and personnel had access to the Dominion voting source code repositories. He admitted to having remote access into the Dominion management system and remote desktops at the election centers via VPN. He admitted to having access to integral testing environments, system logs, and audit logs. He admitted to having monitored the results of the Chicago-Cook County election in real time on November 3rd, 2020, being able to see the vote tallies prior to certification. He admitted that when a trusted build is installed, it would wipe all of the data from the prior elections, which is directly contrary to the testimony in the Tina Peters case in Mesa County. He admitted that Venezuelan nationals were providing support in the Cook County elections and had access to the voting systems. When asked about his offshore bank accounts, which he had denied owning, he was instructed by his counsel not to answer for reasons of safety. But counsel indicated he does in fact own such accounts.
Wow.
What does that make you think about our election system?
They're stolen.
Serbians. Eric Coomer had access to it. He's head of security. He's giving them access to the source code.
Mm-hmm.
He testified he was the chief reason why President Trump was charged in the grand jury in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Coomer testified there. He testified again outside of that, not knowing that we had access to that, and lied about what he said in that one. So he contradicts himself. Everywhere he turns, he lies.
Mm-hmm.
He lies when the truth is better.
Yeah.
What do you think about our election systems? You're a smart guy.
Stolen.
Where?
Everywhere.
And herein lies the problem.
I was on the Jeff and Bill show about a month ago, and Bill sucker punched me with election fraud stuff. And I was running on, so I was ready for questions. But he started throwing out that it's been proven there was no election fraud. Well, I told him, well, I haven't seen any of that. Well, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it. And he was yelling. He was yelling it at me.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody has to yell it at you, they don't really believe it. They're lying.
Yeah.
Just like when I ran for DA. And I'm going to call this guy's name out. He's running for treasurer in El Paso County again. Browerman. Chuck Browerman.
Yeah.
He came up to my table. I didn't know who he was. Little short guy. And said, what are you running on? I said, well, election fraud, pouring in the schools. He goes, what about election fraud? The elections are fair. I'm like, no, not as far as I know, they weren't. And I said, and there's affidavits of evidence showing that there was something wrong with the election. And he starts yelling at me, affidavits aren't evidence. I'm thinking,
affidavits are evidence.
Yeah. I'm a lawyer. I've been practicing law for 36 years. Yes, an affidavit is evidence. That's somebody's willing to say, I will go into court and testify to this. And he stomped off mad at me. I'm like, yeah, you got something to hide. If you can't have a rational discussion about it, then you're trying to hide something.
And herein lies the problem, is that free pass. As long as he gets elected, he doesn't care.
No.
This is a selfishness that happens in politics and the dirty game. Right? Same thing that Thune's dealing with right now, same thing that most politicians in Colorado and around, Democrats and Republicans, are betraying the people on both sides.
Yeah.
David, I want to thank you for coming in. I got to go through a bunch of stuff on Block C. I want you to sit here so you can listen to it, but I'm going to go through some stuff real quick that I have to go through. Thank you for joining us. How do people donate to you, and how do people support you?
David4, FORAG.com.
David for FORAG.com. DAVIDFORAG.com.
Yep.
And you can go, and what's the maximum amount they can donate to you?
Individuals, I think it's 750, and then for different committees and things, it goes up.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate you coming on with me today.
Thank you.
And look, it was pretty revealing, I think, for everyone. Everyone, make sure that you share it, and if you're in Colorado, make sure you reach out. David does have a Facebook page and a bunch of other stuff. You can find that all on his website. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about the gaslighting that is happening inside of our media. David was just talking about it, related to Bill on the Jeff and Bill show. I call him the Paper Tiger show. These guys think that I don't even know what they think. There's a reason why they try to suppress me on socials. And now that we're issuing subpoenas in order to get access to all the socials and find out who's the one that's pushing all these buttons, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple months as we do that. But we'll be right back. When we come back, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about just how bad and rotted these devils are. We'll be right back.
Oh, hi, I almost didn't see you there. Welcome to DCF Buns, where you can find the freshest buns in town, if I do say so myself. Our master bakers teach class every week, so whether you're new to baking or trying to improve your culinary skills, we got you covered. And we can help you bake the cake of your dreams. We'll even clean your cake if you want. And if you don't want to bake anything yourself, we have loads of fresh buns available in a variety of shapes and sizes. Check us out at dcfbuns.com to learn more. DCF Buns, we keep the buns hot and the deals hotter. Buns.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
But I'm not finished yet. Let me finish my thought. Drill back to 50. Yeah, because you're still alive, right? And so there's an entire generation of people. Brown v. Board, it overturned Plessy v. Ferguson in 1896. My point is that my mother was born in 1951. She desegregated schools. My father was shot in the civil rights movement.
What?
Those people. I'm going to finish because you're being utterly disrespectful. Not at all. So I'm going to finish this comment. So what I'm telling you is that there are people in this country who fought, died, and bled for the right to vote. Don't be a dick. Just understand.
Bakari,
just understand.
Something else. The Constitution is being upheld.
Hey,
we are definitely not going to deny the lived experiences of those black people back then. Definitely not. However, I agree with Kevin O'Leary. What does that have to do with anything? Nobody's taking away your vote. What does that have to do with anything? You still have a right to vote. The problem is the candidate of your choice may not win because they love soft, heavy on the soft, elections. They want to win based upon the color of their skin only. But now they actually have to present policies and work for your vote. So he brought up a fact in the past, mixed it with some trauma, provoked emotionalism, made it personal, dismissed O'Leary as if he didn't care and he didn't know what he was talking about, deflected and defamed when O'Leary said, well, you don't respect the Constitution? You can still vote. Called him a bad word to make it seem like he's so hurt. Psychological warfare was just performed on millions of people, well, maybe thousands of people because CNN is trash, on the spirit of the airwaves. You're sitting there, oh my God, Kevin don't care about black people. Marxism 101. His argument falls apart when you look at Abigail Spamberger and Winsome Sears. If black people were so concerned about people that look like them, how come for the governor race in Virginia, they didn't vote in the black woman? No, instead, they voted in the white woman. So again, I ask you, what does representation look like to you? Next is Tennessee. They got all crazy, all discombobulated, went down there, got to marching, pointing their finger in people's face. Funny thing is, their representation was this man right here. Because of the redistricting, this black woman right here, a black Republican, could win. So again, I ask, heavy on the ask, you, what does representation look like? Because when representation according to the color of skin is a black Republican, all of a sudden they're coons, Uncle Toms, Auntie Tams, Bed Witches, and Sam Boats. That part. All of a sudden the white Democrat has your lived experiences. That part.
This is where common sense start to kick in, just so you can hear it. You have the gaslighting right now is through the roof. And it's all lies. There's no truth behind it, but you have the retards of our population that listen to it. Now, it's not the retards that are our problem. It's the bots that back up the retards. So you have the bots that are out there represent over 40%. Listen to me. 40% of social media is all bots. They're not real. These are not real accounts. You have what's called Demcast, where one person could represent up to 1 million accounts. I keep telling you about this stuff, and you keep thinking that there's lots of people in your community that believe this because it said that they're in Denver, Colorado. They must actually exist, but they're not. They're made up. And what AI is allowed just to do even more is to have conversations where the rhetoric heads in one direction, where you think you're heading north, they're just taking you south, all the way to hell. Nothing that is in front of us is real. It's not real. And we have, and just to give you an idea of how retarded these people are, here is a college professor discussing how our students hate capitalism. They hate capitalism. The society we live in right now, by the way, is not capitalism. I'm going to say it again. This is not capitalism. Capitalism does not come on the edge of a sword where 56 cents on every dollar goes to the government. It doesn't come through overburdened regulations and 25, 30, 40 volumes of IRS standards and protocols of how you have to maneuver your way through in order to not have to pay an absorbent amount of taxes. See, rules are for thee and not for me. They get to do whatever they want. We live in a slave culture right now. We live in a culture that is dominated by radical leftists because of stolen elections at every level. You can say whatever you want, but try to prove to me otherwise that what I'm saying is not true. Show me how it's not true. When you have cameras on every corner and everywhere you turn, you have an entire system of indoctrination that's not based on any foundation of truth that I can find. And to back all of that stuff up, they say, well, embrace your truth. There's only one truth. And I'm going to hem up the rest of this by showing you very clearly that the radical left is a danger not just to our country, but to humanity. Go ahead and play this professor.
So I just finished teaching a class called Crisis Earth, which is a non-major science class where we go through and talk about crises on Earth, environmental crises, all of which are human-caused. And in this class, I have multiple debates on topics that are debatable, like solutions to climate change, or what we did today was endangered species breeding programs, whether or not it's a good idea. And every debate I have done in this class, filled with juniors and seniors at my institution, non-major science students, this year, for the first time ever, has devolved into anti-capitalist, anti-corporation conversations. And maybe that's not devolving. Maybe that's exactly where the conversation needs to go, even though I'm teaching this as a biology course with kind of an environmental, well, definitely an environmental slant. These students are pissed, and they're pissed at corporate America. And these students are the ones that are going to change the world. It gives me faith. It gives me confidence that our education isn't broken, that their eyes are wide open, and they're not going to tolerate it any longer. Their solution to every environmental crisis that we've talked about is dismantle capitalism and dismantle corporations. I think that says something.
Let me tell you what you just heard. You heard a sick woman who has a class that has a reputation across the campus. And so only people who are retarded go and sit in her class. And these retarded people talk about how capitalism is not the answer. And the antithesis to capitalism is communism. And so this retard right here that has never accomplished a thing in her miserable life is trying to devolve a biology class into a discussion about anti-corporationism and anti-capitalism. Well, just so you know, we're in a technocracy right now anyway. We're not in a capitalistic society. When you have stolen elections and you can see all of it right in front of you, you could see it as clear as day. It literally is right in front of everyone. And they have to use bully tactics and bots and suppression of everything. Use suppression. I mean, it's like a big suppression fest. They have to use that in order to convince you that you're not the popular idea. That's not the popular idea. It's a small section of our society that is trying to basically run roughshod over the rest of the world. And in the middle of it, it kills a lot of people. These people are demons. These are really, really bad people. And this person, she's just retarded. And let me just tell you something else. We're going to get through this. This is going to be, in order to rot education, and in order to convince people that they have to let devils sit out and do real damage to people like the Jewish population. I mean, real damage. And Soros is doing real damage to the Jewish population. Yuval Noah Harari is doing real damage to the Jewish population. Real damage. World Economic Forum and this cabal of demons that are saying, hey, we're Jewish, you can't talk about us, you'd be anti-Semitic. No, we're attacking the devil itself. We're attacking the devil that is literally trying to steal the voice and steal opportunities and the futures for hundreds of millions, if not billions of people. Well, Alex Soros announced that he's the Open Society Foundations, which, by the way, was on the same floor as Dominion Voting System up in their Canadian office. But remember, Eric Coomer said that everyone in his company at Dominion Voting System felt the same way, that he should kill cops and that Trump should die and you know, un-Trump me. His words, not mine. This is what he has to say, that they want to spend $30 million that they got, by the way, through smurfing and stealing, through government corruption and CIA influence around the world. Play it.
Hi, I'm Alex Soros. As the son of a Holocaust survivor and a Jew, I am acutely aware of the dangers of anti-Semitism. I'm also proudly married to a Muslim American. Discrimination and hate aren't abstract concepts to me or my family. They're deeply personal and have been persistent throughout our lives. Today, the Open Society Foundations are committing $30 million to organizations fighting anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hate around the United States and across the world. At a moment like this, we need to stand together and act. This investment is about keeping people safe and pushing back against hate.
What he didn't tell you is that his father was responsible for turning in Jews. Sorry, it's inconvenient. What he also left out of that conversation is anti-Christian hate. See, there is a thing that's happening behind the scenes, that all you're seeing, this anti-white, anti-Christian, it's all anti-Christian. It's designed to destroy the foundation of our country, which is based on the principles of God, which is deeply rooted in our Christian faith. You just heard it. He wants to fight against anti-Semitism. is it really against anti-Semitism? And you can look at that little weak person on the screen, and all you keep thinking to yourself is, the guy's evil. He's like on team evil in a way that frankly is disgusting. But he says he speaks for the Jews. Well, I had a conversation with many Jews over the last 4 weeks. Remember, the Anti-Defamation League, which is far left, came in and said, we want to attack Joe Oltmann. And before that, you had organizations that said that Joe's a homophobe. When that didn't work, before that, it was Joe's a racist. It doesn't work. But the more people that I talk to of the Jewish faith, and of the Catholic faith too, the more they go, got it. And this is why I become a danger to these people. I point out evil, I don't point out Jew. I point out the fact that they want to hide behind that. And the Open Foundation, by the way, is a nonprofit, which means they get their money from government organizations, from governments. There aren't people just running dollars over there. No. They're funded by these radical leftists that want to destroy the fiber of our nation. Alex Soros is a danger to the United States. And here's something else. Let me just tell you, you are judged by the fruit of your labor. You are judged by the company you keep. You are judged by who you support and what you're allowing people to actually go through in that process. Here's a cut with Soros-backed Florida State Attorney Monique Worrell. She's the new DA in Florida. Trying to back her. Go ahead and play it.
This is Monique Worrell, a state attorney for the 9th Judicial Circuit of Florida. Under her tenure, dangerous and violent criminals have been given slaps on the wrist for their horrific offenses time and time again. For example, Marcus Anderson, who was indicted on first-degree murder and was eligible for the death sentence, had his charges downgraded by Worrell. Instead, he was only given 4 years in prison. Then there was Yaciel LeBron Flores, who stole a car and killed an innocent man in a crash that he caused. He took a plea deal from Worrell and will only serve less than 6 years in prison. Next is Julian Vincent, who is charged with 25 counts of possessing child sex abuse material. Instead of 20+ years in prison, he won't serve a single day thanks to Worrell. Lastly, we have Savion Lambert, who carried out an armed carjacking and was given probation. While on probation, he went out again and allegedly killed a man. Worrell's office is now trying to obtain a plea deal, which would result in a lesser sentence. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier has called out this woke state attorney, demanding for her to be held accountable and for her disregard for justice to end.
Monique Worrell's misjudgments are far too numerous, and her conduct is not beyond oversight by the state or the public. State Attorney Worrell's obvious pattern or practice of leniency on violent and deadly criminals must end.
America can't afford state prosecutors who put our lives at risk. This needs to end.
That is Soros-backed Florida State Attorney. A man loses his life, another one loses his life. A person convicted of or guilty of first-degree murder. And I had to look these cases up. I had to go through it. Allowed to be put back on the street while taking the life of innocent Americans. But let's talk about anti-Semitism, because obviously that's the biggest problem we face, right? Not the victimization of people on our streets. And remember, they threw the book at Tina Peters, 9.5 years. But one was a sitting legislator. They got probation. Another one got community service. Tina Peters, a Republican, Christian, got 9.5 years. And Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi have betrayed Tina Peters and betrayed the good people. And this chaos that they create is designed to take away from people what was never theirs to take. The basic dignity of being an American. And I want to say this. If you just had the person with the porn charges, he didn't go to jail. 25 counts. And he got probation. Abusing children. Sharing child pornography with his sick little buddies. Got probation. That sounds like justice to me. It sounds like our system in the United States is broken beyond repair. And the people that are in those positions, frankly, they don't care about the American people. They lie with impunity. And they're just pushing us and saying, what are you going to do about it? I think the answer is clear. And while all this is going on in the United States, something pretty spectacular is happening in China with President Trump. I think something's about to hit the fan. Here's President Trump arriving in China. Something's a brewing. Every day we uncover more fraud against the American people. And every day we sit here with more people that say, this is what has been done to me, it's been done to me. There's hardly any victims, non-victims left. I think at some point we're getting to the place where we can see it clearly. The matter of fact, we can see it so clearly that we had David on, we've had other people on that said, hey, I'm gonna change it, I'm gonna be that change. And I think one of the reasons why you saw the backing of the people when I walk in to fix the state party is because we got to have a party of the people. We need unlikely alliances. I'll leave you with this before I pray us out. I put something up on Facebook on Friday, and let me just tell you about it because it'll make more sense once I say it. No one got it. No one got the what I was trying to say about it. And it was, let me see if I can find it real quick. Almost there. If I didn't post so much on Facebook. See if one of you guys can get this. Lord, give me a sign. I really need to talk to you, Lord. Since the last time we talked, the walk has been hard. Now, I know you haven't left me, but it feels like I'm alone. I'm a big boy now, but I'm still not grown. And I'm still going through it, the pain and the hurt, soaking up trouble like the rain in the dirt. And I know that only I can stop the pain with the name of the Savior, of my Savior's name. In the name of Jesus, good night, back at it tomorrow. If you know, you know. Who knows what I was talking about there? Anybody? See if anybody gets it. Nobody got it? All right. It was DMX. And I used to watch DMX all the time. So it was DMX. And he would do one song dedicated to God on every album, but he had his demons. And he lived in that world. And so it's difficult to see the fact that, man, even the most faithful people find themselves in a place where they feel like it's hopeless at times. And DMX ultimately died of an overdose. And that was his demons, that was his struggle. We're here to tell you we're all going to struggle until we decide that the fight is worth fighting. And the outcome is worth protecting. When our kids become more important to us than we are to ourselves, at that point, we will win. And it's not that far ahead. I mean, we're there. President Trump has some things that he needs to do, but I would tell you to be prepared for it, stay prayed up, and make sure that you do the right thing, vote for the right people. But these unlikely alliances that I talk about, we're going to bring ethical Democrats, independents, and Republicans together. The people have been betrayed, not just in Colorado, but around the country. And the more people you talk to, the more you actually go out there and you seek out these conversations. You're going to see it too. 40% of all social media are bots. They're not real. They're fake. They're fake. Smurf accounts, fake. All these people that raise all this money, fake. They've sucked the dollars out of the community. They've taken away opportunity from our children, taken away trade schools, made 25% of our population able to read and write when they graduate from high school, not prepared for the real world, and they did it on purpose. So let's just bring us all together and let's find ways to actually give education, give opportunity back to our children. Let's set aside the racial divides. Let's get Muslims, Christians, and Jews that are all betrayed by devils and demons, people that frankly serve themselves. Let's take that back from them, and let's do it in the name of Jesus. And I think there'll be a lot of things that we can accomplish together. I'm more at peace than I've ever been, and yet I can't help but see that it's going to be a long road. We have a very, very difficult fork in the road over the next couple months, and I pray we get through it. And if we don't, well, then that's when the fight begins, I guess. President Trump has an opportunity. I hope he takes it. The people that work for him, the Judases and the Brutuses, the people that are stabbing him either where he can see it or where he can't see it, they're going to do everything they can to bleed out our country. That's what Thune is doing. They don't have courage. They lack courage because they weren't elected. They were selected. You want to fix it? You have that power. You have the power to fix it. You got to pray, you got to stand, you got to speak, you got to act, you got to find other people that you want to connect with. And that's why they're afraid of me for the Colorado State Chair. But there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to walk the path, do what I can, and try to bring people together. And if we are able to do that, we can make a blueprint, a red print for the rest of the country, we'll have some really good success. David, thanks for being with us. Guys, I'll pray us out real quick. Actually, you know what? Is your mic still on? Is his mic still on? Anybody want David to pray us out? You want to pray us out?
I can do that.
All right, I'm going to let you pray us out.
Okay.
Thanks for being with us.
Oh. Dear Father, we thank you for this time. We pray that you're with us continuously. Give us discernment and help us to understand which path to walk and stay on that path. We pray protection, health, and safety. And we pray that we constantly seek you in everything that we try and do and accomplish. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, David, thank you. Guys, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. I got this woman that got mad at me. We're on record. We're hitting records for how many downloads we have. So go download it. Give us a 5-star review. Give us a thumbs up on your way out. Obviously, I know that Coomer's attorneys are actually watching us. They like to watch us. Hopefully, they learn something. Hopefully, they learn something. Here's what else I'll tell you. We just finished the Roku app. So if you have Roku, we now are on Roku. So you'll be able to go back, watch an episode. You can stop it, pause it, go forward, backwards. We build it so you can actually continue watching each one of the deals. It launches literally in the next week. Now, on top of that, we have an app and a platform that are going to be launching. Now, I wanted to make sure it was 100% done. They gave me the walkthrough of Roku today. I get to see the Apple and the Google as well. And I just want to thank all of you that have gotten past all of this social media jargon and things that they've done to me and are still listening. And yeah, look, be the ambassador of truth. You're the one that gets to decide. Is it shareable? Is it worthy to be shared? And is it truth? Not my truth, not your truth. Is it absolute truth? Galatians 4:16, am I the enemy because I tell you the truth? Live by it. Live by it. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. real. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through.